Dear student, class 6, today I am going to discuss about the chapter 4, Introduction to Population of Bangladesh, lesson 7. Causes and effects of discrepancy in mortality rate, like birth rate. Mortality rate also differ from country to country. We know mortality rate and birth rate differs from country to country. In some countries, mortality rate is high, like poor countries, like developing countries, and some countries mortality rate is high, while it is low in some other countries. Causes of discrepancy in mortality rate: geographical reason. There are various reasons for discrepancy in mortality rate, such as geographical reason. Geographical location and elements influence mortality rates. Mortality rate is low in the countries where infrastructure, communication, transport are developed, like Japan. Weather and climate is not an extreme level. Uh, and natural disaster and accident. Mortality rate is high in the places where natural calamities like floods, tornadoes, cyclone, drought, famine, etc. take place frequently. Actually, in subcontinent, uh, India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh, especially our country, every year we faced flood, drought, tornado, cyclone, and again in the places where communication is faulty, but our uh, communication system is not well all over the country, or there is lack of safety in construction where accident related mortality rate is high in those regions. And because public were not conscious and how to build their house, and their construction elements restore on the footpath or roads, so walking and movement is very risky in on the road. For this reason, accident related mortality, our especially our driver is not educated, and they have no driving license. Most of the drivers have no driving license, and they did not take proper training on driving. For this reason, accident related mortality rate is high, and our public is not conscious how to they don't like to use a footpath or foot over bridge. For this reason, frequently accident occurred on the road. Various disease. Mortality rate is high in the region where cholera, typhoid, malaria, whooping cough, asthma, and various viral diseases such as Zika virus, Ebola virus, and MERS virus break out in an epidemic form. Mortality rate is high in the regions where cholera, typhoid, and some virus like Zika, Ebola, SARS, MERS, and now we facing coronavirus. For this reason, many people died. Um, age structure affects mortality rate. Mortality rate is high in the society where the minor boy and elderly people are more in number. Age is one of the factor to increase mortality rate. Um, Poverty: the poor cannot afford to eat nutritious food, and they also don't afford advanced health care. actually they could not take um, proper treatment because their income is low, and they are live in unhealthy environment, and lifestyle remains at a low standard. um, as a result, various disease attack them easily and die in a large number. For this reason, mortality rate is higher in underdeveloped countries than developed countries. Developed one. The developed countries, there are more facilities in treatment facilities high, especially Japan, Malaysia, Bangkok, Thailand. Uh, but in developing countries, there is no there is no secure treatment system or healthcare system. War and battles. Mortality rate is high in the countries where war and battles take place, like Syria, Sierra Leone, South African countries. At present, the Middle East, Africa, in the some Southeast Asian countries, many people are dying because of wars. Because of wars. Impact of discrepancy in mortality rate causes changes in population, various short of premature deaths, including infant mortality. Accident related deaths cause huge loss to the country's economy and social life. In our country, high infant mortality rate is a measure of struggle to population control. um, High infant mortality rate inspires parents to give birth to more child. If the mortality rate is high, tension regarding future increases. Death of an earning members in a family creates uncertainty in life. In a word, high mortality rate brings evil conscious consequence for any country. On the contrary, low mortality rate contributes to developing the structure, age, and distribution of uh, distribution of population. It also contributes to socio-economic development. Once infant mortality rate was very high in our country. As a result, infant mortality rate has come down to a great extent. Lesson 8: Causes and Effects of Migration Discrepancy. To change dwelling place permanently is called migration. It may be confined in a country's territory, or sometimes it may happen crossing territorial boundary. Causes of migration discrepancy. The reasons behind migration are economic, social, political, or demographic. Among these causes, the most remarkable ones are: man migrates from one country to another in the hope of more income. Actually, migration means one place to another, transfer one place to another. uh, many causes behind the migration. uh, in the hope of more income, migrates for business purpose, migrates for marriage, migrates for higher education, advanced healthcare, profession of highly dignity, migrates being affected by natural calamities like flood, drought, water logging, and river erosion. Every year we know river erosion occurred in our country, and water logging problem is a burning issue in our country. especially Dhaka city, waterlogging problem is high, um, because we did not look after our drainage system, and we did not emphasis on logging system problem. For this reason, we suffering more, on Dhaka city's people suffering more. Migrates in the hope of attraction elements like advanced civil rights and opportunity, recreation, and good environment. Migrates because of wars. At present, many people of the Middle East are migrating to the European countries because of wars. Impact of migration. There are various types of effect of migration. The areas where people migrate get expanded, uh, density of population increases. For example, only 10 years ago, Dhaka city consisted of limited areas, but now the expansion of this city is widespread. Because of migration, the pressure of extra population, actually now our total population 6 crore, uh, above 6 crores and 16 crores, um, and a city cannot um, take the load of high density or of overpopulation. And for the overpopulation, we lost our land, and we have to set up building accommodation for the overpopulation. But now the for because of migration, the pressure of extra population is felt at different location of the cities, and we filled our water bodies with soil for the overpopulation accommodation. The demand and price of basic needs and daily commodities increase for the overloaded people. Various social problem arises, growth the population due to migration, and slums creates more. These are admission problem in education sector, because limited seat are there in the city, and people are more. Lack of employment, different types of criminal activities, and environmental problem is high, because the Dhaka cities are more, the environment of Dhaka cities are more of lead, sisa, and full of leads and sisa in the air of Dhaka city. For this reason, the environmental problem is high. Both internal and international migration affects the population structure of this country. Lakhs of people of our country are doing job in various regions of the world through migration. The money sent by them is making a large contribution to our national economy. Actually, the foreigner and expatriate our workers send money, and this money called remittance, and this money act a great role in our national economy. Look, multiple choice question: what is called population movement from one place to another? Within the answer, it will be internal. It will be internal migration. Number two, demography means. Demography means calculation of the people's birth and death at a particular place and time. Number two, calculation of people of different age group. Number three, calculation of the person making internal migration and international migration. It will be number two. Look, read the extract below and answer question number 3 and 4. 50 plus, Firoja gave birth to her 6 children in the intolerable heat of summer. Uh, Shushan, the one of only son, Firoja's employer, um, Thompson, goes to office from his purchased home by his own car. All people are educated in his country. What is the cause of birth rate discrepancy in Firoja's case? The answer will be literacy rate. Number 4. Number 4. Which impact may be noticed in Thompson's country? Birth rate will increase. Number B. Mortality rate will decrease. Number C. Lack of healthcare, and number D. lack of food and cloth. It will be number B. Mortality rate will decrease. In 1947, at the time of partition of the country, Mr. Binoy, a weaver, left Bangladesh and went to India to live there permanently. His son Sujit, with one son, has settled in America as a university teacher. What is birth rate? Actually, generally, birth rate means the number of living children born of 1,000 women in a particular country in a particular time. Number B. How do geographical elements and location affect mortality rates? Mortality rate can get affected by geographical reasons. Geographical location and elements influence mortality rates. Mortality rate is low in the countries where infrastructure, communication, transportation are developed and weather and climate are not an extreme level. Number C. Which dominant elements of population change is noticed in Mr. Binoy case? In the stream, we notice that Mr. Binoy went to India to live there permanently, and his son also went to America to settle there. Migration can be found in his situation. Migration can take place in two ways. One is internal migration, and another is international migration. When the people go abroad and another country, it is called internal migration. On the other hand, internal migration take place within the country, and migration Binoy, his son, belong to international migration. State migration can be happen because of many reasons, because higher education, overseas business, marriage, natural calamities, and birth. What type of role will Mr. Sujit play in population change? Population change is nowadays a common phenomena in every country. The dominant elements for change of population are birth rate, mortality rate, migration, marriage, social mobility, and so on. In the above stream, Sujit with his sons has settled in America. He can see that Sujit family plays an important role in population change, and he has only one son, and it still seems that he is conscious of growing rate of population. Higher education made him understand the risk of high birth rate of a country. Higher birth rate results from many causes. Besides, population increase also increases mortality rate. Sujit family plays an important role in population change because of their own birth rate country, low birth rate country. It will help preserve the natural resource of that country. If the birth rate of the country remains low, the country's resource will be used. So we can say Sujit families plays an important role in population change. um, you have to read more, and have you any problem, please contact with me.